Michael tells her that someone actually planted the sheath, that the police did not find it when they first went in. So I think this book I'll probably buy. Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. Disclaimer, everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. Okay, so while I was getting a clip from just the hearing ready to go, because here on the channel we go live for the hearings, we discuss afterwards, then I clip out just the hearing and post it with no commentary for just the information. I went on Twitter and saw somebody had posted an excerpt from the James Patterson book that's coming up. So I Googled a couple things, ended up finding this website. Okay, so to avoid any sort of copyright strike or anything like that, because the Associated Press actually did copyright strike a portion of the live yesterday that I had to cut out, neither here nor there, but I'm going to go ahead and do it this way. I'm going to have a picture of the book right here, and I'm going to describe to you what is being said in this article, what Bryan Kohberger's father is telling the mother of Bryan's one and only childhood friend who died back in 2021 of a rug overdose. I hate the way YouTube makes me talk, but you know what? Blame them. They had a conversation, and she is the one who relayed that conversation over to James Patterson and Vicky Ward over here. She even says herself, the Bryan I knew wouldn't have done this. And Michael Kohberger goes on to tell her Bryan did not do this. There were a lot of things going on inside that house, and it's all going to come out at trial. So this is really interesting considering what just happened here. So that's how it starts. It actually starts with stating that last summer, which is whenever this conversation took place, Michael Kohberger had said his son was completely innocent and that the trial would clear his name. Everything changed, though, because, of course, we had the plea. I'm recording this on 7/3. It'll be posted the same day. The plea happened yesterday on the 2nd. Everything was completely shocking, completely left field, especially this close to trial. And on top of that, no new information. They basically read the PCA in the room, and it made no sense. It honestly made no sense, okay? So the relationship that Connie has had with the Kohbergers is that her son had some sort of learning disability that matched whatever was going on with Bryan at the time, and that Bryan was just a silent guy and kind of odd, kind of strange, but he was in awe of her son that was pretty popular and athletic. So this strange child in school made friends at some point with one of the most popular kids in school. Both of them ended up turning to substances for one reason or another. But from what we're learning, back in 2021, this person passed away, which is extremely sad. Whenever they're speaking about the conversation, she asks if Bryan was told about Jeremy passing away. And again, this was back in 2021, before Bryan would have moved to WSU. And what Michael says is that they didn't tell him right away because he was away, but that yes, he does know, which is interesting because I don't know what Bryan was away, and being away to a place where you didn't tell him, like you couldn't just pick up the phone. That's interesting. It says right here that Michael Kohberger admits that Bryan wasn't the same after the usage. He wasn't the same person. But then he goes on to say Bryan was framed. And she was kind of taken aback, like, what do you mean? And Michael tells her that someone actually planted the sheath, that the police did not find it when they first went in, that there were a lot of substances in that house and a lot of people around, but they only looked at Bryan. You know how he likes to drive around when he's nervous. And this is something that we've talked about a lot, about driving around in the middle of the night people by themselves. Millions of people across the country do this. It's really a common thing. And to completely just unplug and try to get out of your reality for a minute by taking a drive in the middle of the night in the countryside and just with the windows down and peaceful. I mean, come on. People seem like they don't understand it, but I don't see how they couldn't understand it. Anyway, we've also questioned the whole sheath situation because in Blaker's PCA and in Payne's PCA, Everything is pretty much copy and paste down to their experience and their opinions until you get to the sheath being found. That's whenever the story changes. It's really interesting that this is what Michael Kohberger is going around and telling people. But then he also reiterates how he used to always get in the car and drive around at night whenever he needed to think, just like so many people. He had to get away and just think. When he couldn't sleep, he would just drive around. This is a common thing. Like I said, common thing. And just like he said before, Michael says again, things will come out at trial, everyone will see. So I'm really confused as to what happened here, because even his parents knew from the discovery evidence that they must have been being told by their son that the sheath wasn't there whenever they first walked through, that something was janky about the sheath. People have been questioning that all along. So what would have happened if this book would have come out with this information like it was supposed to before the trial? And this information would have been out on record about the sheath not being there whenever they first went in. Would the court have addressed that? Because that's new information. I mean, it's been suspicion, but it's new information that's being reiterated by somebody that close to the case. Now, we have to take this with just as big of a grain of salt as we do whatever Steve Goncalves says. We have to be completely fair and unbiased in the way that we take this information. But this is interesting because it's a suspicion that most of us has had. And again, the differences in Blaker's PCA and Payne's PCA is, you can't miss it. You really can't miss it. Look, I'll even circle it all for you. So I want to know what you guys are thinking about this down in the comments. And again, I'll have the link for this down in the description box so that you guys can go and just read this little excerpt itself, this little article itself. I'm buying this book today. Probably by the time this video is posted, I'll have already pre-ordered it. I'm interested to see what people that close to the Kohbergers have to say. Okay, yeah, let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comments. If you like the way that I present this information and give my opinion, please don't forget to leave a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already. And please don't forget to make sure that that notification bell is set to all so you don't miss any of my rants, reviews, reactions, updates, or deep dives. See y'all.